What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, man. I was waiting for this. I overheard this on another channel the other day, man, but I guess I was a little late to the news that Shawn Porter does have two mandatories, one being Keith Thurman and the other one being Andre Berto. And this is after, of course, the WBC had said that one of Shawn Porter's mandatories was going to be the winner of Jesse Vargas versus Thomas Delorme. But since that was a draw, obviously neither one of those guys can be the mandatory. So they slid Keith Thurman up and slid Andre Berto in behind him. And this is what I was waiting for, man. Pure comedy, man. The WBC it is so obvious that they do not have as their main interest having a unified champion in boxing or having a undisputed champion in boxing. The WBC champion is the weakest champion of all the champions. And it seems like they are just determined to keep their guy away from the IBF champion. I just don't understand it, man. I'm thinking there's got to be some things going on behind the scenes or something going on with negotiations with promoters or negotiations with fighters that where the WBC feels it's in their best interest to string this thing out, because they could just say they're going to allow Shawn Porter to have a voluntary because they don't have a suitable mandatory right now. But they won't do that. And that's what I believe they should do. They should say, look, we're going to let Shawn Porter have a voluntary and give him one mandatory. And if that mandatory is Keith Thurman, the mandatory is Keith Thurman. But sliding in Andre Berto, oh my goodness gracious, man. What good does that do boxing, man? Shawn Porter just beat him the fight before last. He just fought him. Shoot, Keith Thurman fought Shawn Porter the fight before last for Keith Thurman. It's like, come on, man. I can understand rematches. I don't think rematches are a bad thing, but doggone, let it at least be a rematch of a good fight. Andre Berto can't beat Shawn Porter, man. But anyway, before I do that, because I hadn't done this in the last videos, I want to definitely thank everybody for subscribing to the channel. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can participate in the live streams that we do. And I definitely want to thank everybody that supports the channel. I know that I put commercials in the videos. I appreciate your patience. That's how we generate revenue for the channel. And to support the cause that we support. Also, thank you very much to everybody that attends the live streams, donates to Super Chat through Venmo, Patreon, and we're going to buff up the Patreon channel pretty soon. So I'll be, you can expect an announcement about that relatively soon. And anyway, man, this is back to this thing. They are just the WBC and these sanctioning bodies are the biggest problem in boxing. And for a casual fan, and this is how I know somebody's a casual fan versus somebody that's a avid fan. A lot of people say, think that you're a avid fan, you're a casual fan if you don't agree with you. But if somebody doesn't agree with them, right? Or if somebody forgets the name of a fight or forgets that somebody fought another fighter, some minor detail that really doesn't have it, there's a million things that go on in boxing, man. Nobody remembers everything. But to me, a telltale sign of an avid fan is somebody that pays attention to what sanctioning bodies' directives are, right? If you're spending time waking up in the morning wondering about who the WBC is going to finalize as the mandatory challenger for Shawn Porter in the welterweight division, more than likely you're an avid boxing fan, man. You're serious about your boxing. So if you are listening to this video and you are serious about your boxing and you're into the sport of boxing enough to understand and see what's going on with the WBC right now, then you've got to say, look, the WBC is preventing fans from getting what they want at this point in time. They are creating a fraud out there. Shawn Porter is a title holder. Shawn Porter is not the best champion. He's not the best fighter in the welterweight division. I never hear anybody say that they think that he is. And he's not being put into a position he's being kept from being put in a position or given an excuse not to have to prove that he's a champion in the welterweight division against either Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence Jr. Keith Thurman is not active. He's not an active fighter. Keith Thurman has not put on a pair of gloves in 19 months. What in the world is the WBC doing ordering a fight with Keith Thurman and Shawn Porter? Number one, he fought Keith Thurman 2 fights before that. The fight before last that Keith Thurman fought was with Shawn Porter. Second, Keith Thurman, but most importantly, Shawn Porter has not been in the ring. Keith Thurman hadn't been in the ring for 19 months, and he says that he wants a tune-up fight first. But Andre Berto, I know that it's in the rules that this can be made. Somehow, Andre Berto is the number 7 ranked contender in the WBC. And there is no rule in the WBC rule book that says that the WBC has to make the number 1, the number 2, the number 3, the number 4, any particular numbered guy the mandatory challenger. There's no guarantee that being ranked number 1 or 2 makes you the mandatory challenger in the WBC. And also there's a big section, even that mandatory, like that when people say, that unification trumps mandatory, right? Even that's not true in their rule book, because right in the beginning of the rules, it's taught there's something section 1 point. It's interpretation, applicability, and interpretations of rules and regulations. This is rule 1.1.1. Basically says that, rule 1.2, interpretation and rules and the power of the WBC president to act in the best interest of boxing. As special and unique circumstances arise in boxing, not all of which can be anticipated and addressed specifically in these rules and regulations, the WBC president and presidency, in consultation with the WBC Board of Governors, has full power and authority to interpret these rules and regulations and to issue and apply such rulings as he, in his sole discretion, deems to be in the best interest of boxing. Let me read the important part. To issue and apply such rulings as he shall, in his sole discretion, deem to be in the best interest of boxing. So that means he can blow away any rule in this entire book and do what the hell he wants as long as he thinks it's in the best interest of boxing. And what's in the best interest of boxing is the loosest term that you could possibly come up with, because it's whatever he thinks is in the best interest of boxing. So does unification trump mandatory? Only if Mauricio Suleiman thinks it's in the best interest of boxing for it to do so. And if that gets in the way of the WBC making money and the WBC being in a viable financial position, it won't be in the best interest of boxing. Consequently, he doesn't have to apply that rule, which is why you can make a mandatory fight with the number 7 guy, number 7 contender who is 5-5 in his last 5 fights. Andre Berto, in his last 10 fights, 35-year-old Andre Berto, who is 5-5 in his since 2011. 5-5 since 2011, been knocked out twice. Oh, excuse me. He's been knocked out 1, 2. Yeah, he's been knocked out twice. And got stopped the fight before last against the guy that they're ordering the fight for. Is in the best interest of boxing. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. There's no way in the world that there's no way Shawn Porter's the best welterweight in the world. He ain't beaten he's not, he already proved he's not. He lost to Keith Thurman. But anyway, man, I was just waiting to see how they were going to do it. But Andre Berto, they didn't even use guys like he didn't even order Yudani Ugas. They didn't even make Ugas the mandatory, or Igas Kavanakis, Well, Igor Kalinakis is over there with Top Rank, right? They wanted Jesse Vargas, the number one contender, and I guess it would have been too out of sorts to order a rematch with Danny Garcia right away, right? Who's somehow coming off of a loss, still the number one ranked fighter in the WBC. Anyway, man, it is what it is. These guys are just, wow, man. The WBC. But Shawn Porter need to man up and take this fight, man. This has been more about the WBC ordering this. But, I mean, seriously, man, Shawn Porter need to make it known he's going to fight for unification, man. Otherwise, man, these guys are jokes, man, and they're bad for boxing. What's in the best interest of boxing is these sanctioning bodies going away because they're perpetrating a fraud. We know perfectly well this guy. Neither one of these guys, any way that this circumstance goes around, none of these guys are the champion in the welterweight division. They're just a title holder. They're walking around and fighting for the glory of carrying around Mauricio Suleiman's belt. That Mauricio Suleiman's belt, and then giving this false and leading fans to the false conclusion that because they're carrying around Mauricio Suleiman's belt, that somehow makes them the best welterweight in the world. It's false advertising and it's a fraud. And I really wish these cats would get rid of it. But I won't hold my breath until it happens. But I will point it out. You know what I mean? Exactly. I'm not gonna hold my breath until it happens, because if I hold my breath, that means I can't say anything about it. But I'm going to say something about it. It's ridiculous, man. Anyway, with that, I'm out. Peace.